This is the largest win on aggregate in the EFL Championship Play-off semi-finals. 6-0 between Sheffield United and Bristol City. There is an element here that they mustn't get ahead of themselves, mustn't they? Obviously, they've won this semi-final really well, but just because you played well in the semis doesn't mean you're going to play well in the final, does it?
No, taking it back down to memory lane for myself, it was Ipswich. We beat Ipswich, I believe, in a second leg at Upton Park, and we knew we were going to the final, and we were going to play Preston. So, yes, you're excited. Again, as a player, you think to yourself, right, we're going to Wembley. And this was in the younger time of my career, like, we're going to Wembley. So you're excited. Then you get into training, all the fans are excited, all the people around the club are excited. It's a day out at Wembley, but also right in the distance, it's Premier League. That's what it's about, getting to Premier League, getting to the next level. So then you start to decompress in training the next day or two. You start to take it easy. You start to do tactics and leading and building up to it. Then 2 or 3 days out, we went to Cardiff quite early because we didn't play at the new Wembley. It wasn't built then. But it's all a focus. It's all a focus. Yes, you're in the final at Wembley. Yes, that's all great. Means absolutely nothing if you don't win the final. That's the reality of it. Everything that we talked about before, the season came to this, you forget everything that happened. It's about this game now. Now you've got to the final. But now when you get to the final, you don't win that final, all of this means absolutely nothing. You had a lovely day at Wembley, but you didn't get promoted.
Because one of the big challenges as well is it's a long break. What are we at, the 12th of May, and the final's not for a long time. So these players have got to be able to enjoy the fact, as we talked about, enjoy the fact that they've got there, but then also not burn out too quickly with all of this nervous energy before they actually even play at Wembley.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to manage those 12 days, but for me, Wembley is not a reward unless you win the game, unless you go to the final. And how do you, like, I keep going back to how do you manage the players' mentality and mind, right? Are they looking at it like we have to get this done, or are they looking at this like it's an opportunity? Because you have to also be light in that game. It's a game of football at the end of the day. It's not a game of how bad you want it. Yeah, that's an element of football, but also you have to play the game of football, right? And I think managing those expectations is huge. And you're talking about, for a lot of players, life-changing moment. Actually funny because, he played in the Premier League, we haven't. So to say you played in the Premier League is a life-changing thing that you can take with you to your grave, and it's an accomplishment that Nigel obviously should be very proud of, but any player who can accomplish that should be very proud of. You have one game to get you there, and you don't know. You don't know if you don't win that game, if you never get that opportunity again, because in English football, I mean, we looked at how many massive clubs have found themselves in the Premier League and they blink an eye and they're in League One, League Two. So you don't know what football's going to bring. That's why we love it. It can go up and down really quickly. But one game to get you there, to say it's something that you can say for the rest of your life. And if you don't win there, and then it's all gone. The whole season's gone.
He's been dining out on that for years.
No, that's 100%. It's funny because Grella's right. Because, again, we talk about this. First time at West Ham, we got to the final. We played Crystal Palace. I was on the bench. Alan Pardew changed the team. He put myself, Anton, the young boys on the bench, went for a more experienced team. We lost to Crystal Palace in the final. Do you know how much of a punch to the gut that was? Because we knew how much of a grueling season we've been through already. And in our heads, we're thinking, another year in the Championship. Oh, my God. Because we know how hard it is. And then we went through the same thing again the second year. Never in the top 2-3 conversation. Get on a momentum roll, get into the 6th spot, and we went through it again. But we had experience the year before. So this time, again, like Grella says, even though you got to the final, we knew how good Preston were, but there was no guarantees that we're going to win and get promoted to the Premier League. So the build-up to it is just an adrenaline rush. When you get there, it's an adrenaline rush, but you still have no guarantee. And like you said, you've got to play the moment. It's not just about football and tactics.
To both stories, I remember my first season at Swansea, and this was getting the champ, and it was my first season. We got to the playoff final, we lost it. But my mentality was like, next season we'll go again. It took me 10 years to get back to that same position. So the way a career can go, all of a sudden you're thinking, and where you touched on it, like, oh, it's defining moments, X, Y, and Z, where you feel like, but you can never get there. I mean, luckily, it did take me 10 years, better late than never. But what I wanted to touch on, why I love football so much is, see, what's balanced in the changing room is Grella's mindset that it's not a reward to get to Wembley, that it's just a stepping stone because it's only a reward when you get. And that's a nice balance because my mentality is, OK, that's step one to get to Wembley, so I'm going to reward myself. But the way then it's balanced, because he would then click me and say, OK, we're only halfway there, now let's get over the line. And that's the good thing about changing rooms, characters, team dynamics, that there's some people that will think one way and another player would then get them over the line.
When you were at Wycombe and you had a bit of a while between getting through the semi-finals and then actually playing at Wembley, what did those days look like? Was it all just on the training ground preparing for the team you knew you were going to play in the final, or was it also just, okay, let's chill out?
You have to balance it out because you can't help but be excited. There's no two ways. We're humans. And again, there's different tiers to it. So, of course, the one what they're going for, that's the promised land. That's every kid's dream to go to the Premier League. But it's the same if it's League One to the champ. You want to go to a division where you haven't played in it. So you have to balance the emotion and the energy, because energy is zapping. So if you're constantly just on that high tier that can't wait, by the time you get to it, you're emotionally drained. So the first couple of days anyway, you take it off. Managers are very, very good in regards to the way trainings. Oh,
I was about to say that, because this is what separates top managers from good managers. It's the manager's responsibility now to know his team, know his players, know the characters that he has. He has to be constantly watching with hawk eyes every day at the training ground, how the players are applying themselves, what the atmosphere is like, and speaking to his coaching staff that he trusts to say, right, we might have to tune it down a bit for this day, this, that, and find other ways to stimulate the players. It can't be all total football, because they'll be drained out. So you might have to do other things and mix it up a little bit, but still letting them know what's at stake. This type of management all the way through, and this is the difference between being a manager and a coach. A coach is just going to be focused on the football. It's all tactics, coaching. A manager has to know his dressing room and his characters and when to change things, when to give, when to take, and maybe thinking of other ways to stimulate these players outside of football, because that plays a part. That's the human element of being a football.
Really good performance tonight again. So, over the 2 legs, the boys have been unbelievable. 6-0 on aggregate, that doesn't happen many times, but really proud of the performance tonight from the boys.
Although you had a healthy advantage, Kieffer, there was still a job to do tonight. So how much of it was about focus and mentality?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, we know we had a job to do today, and we didn't want to take our foot off the gas. We wanted to really make a statement today, and I feel like we did that.
They had a lot of possession in that first half an hour. Did you expect that to a degree?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. So we kind of set up that way, and everything we kind of expected happened, and we stuck to our game plan and executed when we had to.
What changed after about half an hour? You seemed to go up a gear.
I think we just got into the game. We took the pressure off them. They come out really strong first 20 minutes, and we dealt with that, and then we just ended up getting ourselves in the game, and we played our own game. And I think we just led on from there. It was a really good second half as well from the lads, and obviously a great win in the end.
How much did, if there was any tension at all, Kieffer's goal settle things down?
I mean, 1-0 up there. We kind of knew we needed to get the first goal. We knew that would kind of kill the tie at 4-0 there, but to go and get 2 and 3 again was unbelievable, and big man was class tonight.
Kieffer, a great moment for you. Has it been a frustrating season for you, injury-wise, and getting back into the side too? Is that reward for patience?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's never easy when you struggle with injuries and you have surgery, and you find that battle to really find that fitness and that kind of drive again. And I feel like I've worked hard to get back to this position, and I'm feeling really good in myself. So yeah, it was a nice reward, but there'll be a sweeter reward when we go out.
What are the thoughts on the final now?
I think we're just taking it. It's 12 days away. We've got a little bit of time to rest now, and then obviously we'll push on at the end of this week. Training, going into next week will just be a normal week for us, and then all you can be is excited for the game, stick to a game plan, and go out there and try and get the win.
You believe in your players, and your players believing in themselves, because as predicted, they had a lot of possession, but they stayed patient and believed in your methods.
Yeah, listen, every team has a game plan and how they want to go about playing. I respect, totally every opposition that we play against. So we felt it was right to play this way and count. Now we had good opportunities in the first game, in the first half as well. Getting the first goal tonight, as I said, was huge, and they move the ball about and they find pockets, and they're smart, and they're technically a really good side. But as you know, there's always different ways to win games of football, and we found a way the other night. Of course, we had the advantage of playing against 10 men, so we had to be patient in our approach second half. I think crucially those 2 goals have given us a big advantage into today. But it was a real strange one for myself personally, not really been in that situation before in playoff games where you're 3-0 up,
biggest score ever.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't feel that way, and as I said, we had everything to lose tonight, everything. You know, if we'd have not got the result that we wanted tonight, then, you know, dear me, what would have been the sort of outburst off the back of that? We were expected to win, but we still have to go and do the right things. As I said, it was a cagey start. They started on the front foot, nothing to lose, as there obviously that was the situation we're in, and we had everything to lose. So to get that first goal settled us down, and we managed to connect with a few passes, and yeah, of course at the end, I've got a load of respect for Liam, the way he coaches, and the team. It's a young side. It's a team that's been incredibly stretched from an injury point of view. So they were running on empty at the end, and we're in a position where we can go and enjoy ourselves. So without you know, being disrespectful for it to the game and to the opposition.
Sheffield United, of course, in the playoff final after a 3-0 victory, 6-0 on aggregate over Bristol City. They will face either Coventry City, managed by Frank Lampard, of course, or Sunderland. This is their record against both of them this season in the Championship. The only defeat, as you can see there, Matchday 25 against Sunderland, losing 2-1. They were unbeaten against Coventry in those two matches over the course of the season. Let's get back to Bramall Lane, speak again to Geoff Shreeves. When you look at that, if you just look at those stats, Geoff, you would think that Chris Wilder would rather face Frank Lampard and Coventry City.
Yeah, Adam, but you've also got to say Coventry City are actually the form team going into the playoffs, aren't they? So I think you have to look at it slightly differently. I think you have to almost disregard the previous results of the league. This is now tournament football. So you've got to manage the two semi-finals, then manage the final itself. It's a 3-game tournament. I think that's how they will look at it. And I thought it was quite interesting to hear from Chris Wilder when he said, you know, we'll do the same. This is what has got us where we are. This is how we got here today, and we'll carry on like that. And as he said, you know, about letting the players run the dressing room, and I agree with Grella as well. I think he is a bit of a iron fist in a velvet glove. So he's got that light touch, but when he needs to be tough, boy, he can be tough.